Welcome to the JD Bunkis podcast. Ben Ennis is here. A man who, you're doing a lot better.
Buddy, okay, so we were at the game on Friday.
Yeah.
I toughed it out because, like, you're my pal, and that's our rituals that we go to the home opener.
I think we've been to, I was thinking about it in my head, we've been to 12 straight home openers together. Outside of, obviously, COVID.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like, we didn't go to technically the home opener together. I was at a wedding, which was the emotional return. The day they also traded for Jose Barrios, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you mean, the home opener at Rogers Center.
Yeah,
First game
technically.
Wasn't, and George Springer had a big home run in that game, didn't he? Against the Red Sox, it feels like.
I don't really remember the game. I was at a wedding.
Okay. Anyways, but yeah, no, I toughed it out on Friday, despite the fact that I was not feeling so great.
Yeah, no.
And then, as you know, because like if I'm gonna tough it out, I'm not gonna not have a Bud Light or two.
Yeah.
The rest of the weekend I was
Shot.
nightmare.
Yeah.
And honestly, it took until just before I went to bed last night, and I was like, hey, you know what? I think things are finally starting to turn. Like I might be returning to some degree of health, and I'm on the mend today. But Saturday, Sunday, I couldn't move. Like, I was a nightmare.
Well, I'll tell you this. Your version of you had to show up and you had to gut it out.
Yeah.
My version of that was that I couldn't shame you at all for being sick.
Yeah.
Because I was like, we have to go. And you had told me, you'd given me the warning. But like, so you and I had our seats, we can say this now. We had our seats rescinded. All right? Like we were supposed to have seats and then somehow we didn't have seats right before the game. So we ended up we ended up going to a standing section.
Yeah.
We stood with some like good people at around the like 133 on the rail.
Yeah.
And so because we're standing next to each other and you're clearly fighting it.
Yeah.
And you are talking, it's loud there. It's loud. And so you have to be pressed up against my face.
Yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling fine, shockingly.
Holy cow.
But you're in my face, 1 foot from me.
Yeah.
Telling me all about Game 7. Thanks for that. Like, just reminding me.
If I had to relive the trauma the night before watching the Dodgers open their season, then you had to.
You're like, and this also happened against us. He would cough, and then he'd get right back close up into my face and start talking. And I was like, I can't say a word to you about this. I can't be like, hey, step back. Hey, don't talk to me. Hey, move over there. I just had to eat it. And I was like, yep, I'm getting sick. And I'm somehow not sick. So I think we're both winners out of this.
Yeah, good for you. I got to say, you must. I know you eat well. Like, you do try to take care of your body.
I do.
Working out. Like,
although it's falling apart.
Yeah, well, that's the harder. You have to work continually harder.
It's so weird because I keep getting injuries from this
working
is not
out.
Yeah. It's like I thought this was good for me, and yet it's like, now my elbow hurts.
I will say, like maybe the food, the whatever healthy food you're eating is working. That you knock. It's maybe it's like it's a ticking time
Wood's
bomb
down here,
about to go off here.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I got it because everybody else around is sick. It is the time of year to be sick, right? Seasonal changes a lot of people are sick. You're the only one. You're holding out. Good for you. Because you eat enough avocados to fend off the sicknesses.
It's totally jinxed now. I'm a dead man. I got something so much worse than what everybody has just milling around me right now. Okay, so what we always do is we go to the home opener together, and then we do a home opener show. And the premise of the show is essentially early takes that matter, with the caveat being they don't matter at all. They probably
they matter.
Yeah, they matter. This is just like gut feelings of things that happened over the course of this weekend that matter to us. Normally, we do it off of one game because usually the home opener is a day game.
Right.
It's in the middle of the week, so we'll come on here and we'll do a show immediately after. So it's a one game. We got 3 game sample size. So I've kind of elevated the importance of this one. Like these ones matter more because we have a 3 game data set versus what we've always had as one. I got to start with this though, just like our feeling of being at the ballpark for that first game. I can't believe, I shouldn't say I can't believe it because it wasn't shocking to me, but I was encouraged. I was emotional about how the intro, the crowd, like when they were running over the introductory videos and when they were introducing the players and the way that the fans were chanting, the way that the fans were reacting, cheering, it made me feel like we stepped into the same season.
Yeah.
That there wasn't any, like, that you had even said to me, you were like, doesn't it feel like we were just here? And I went, yeah, it really does. And it felt as though we had just stepped right back in to 2025, that we were basically back in the playoff mix.
Yep.
The atmosphere was incredible. They've completely rolled over the feeling of the year before into this one. And I got to say, that doesn't always happen. Like in 2015, when it came into 2016, I kind of referenced this on the last show together. There was a real different vibe. And remember, they tried to go with Hooked on a Feeling again.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to play this song, and it's going to be the same. And everyone went, nah, we need a new song. This is a different team. This time around, like, the game ops were even the same.
Yes.
And they were going with everything as though it was the 2025 playoff run.
Jeff Hoffman had the same walkout.
Yeah, that was probably a mistake. But I don't know how long this is going to last. But it felt so special to be there, and it felt like a playoff crowd. It was unbelievable. Like, I cannot believe that they've been able to recapture the atmosphere almost down to the letter.
Yep. And there are new faces, definitely, and some that we're going to talk about that I feel like are going to have some impacts on the success or failure of the season, and so far, success. But so many of the principles are the same. And I will say that feeling, a feeling like you never left, a part of that is the way they won the first 2 games of the season, right?
Yeah, sure.
Nobody had more comebacks in baseball than the Blue Jays did last season, more than the Dodgers, who were second best, but far and away the most in the American League. And to do it the way that they did in the first 2 games, where it just, oh yeah, no, this team just expects to win.
That's it. And
the fans expect them to win as well. And it's Andres Jimenez and it's Ernie Clement. Like, yeah, no, that's old hat. We know that feeling. We know what to expect out of those guys in big moments. And Alejandro Kirk, obviously, with a huge home run over the weekend as well. Yeah, winning the first 2 games, the fashion that they did also added to that familiarity of the 2025 season.
So I was thinking about the short list of teams that in my adult lifetime, especially living here, right? Because it's different when I was a kid, I didn't live in Toronto, and getting an actual feel for, like, because everyone has always told me that last year's Blue Jays team reminded them of the 93 Maple Leafs, just in terms of the way they connected to the city, that we haven't had a team that was quite like this, that resonated here the way the Blue Jays did. And I would say that for me anyways, the 2016-17 Maple Leafs, that was the first year of Austin Matthews, right?
Yeah,
the rookie,
for sure, yeah.
The rookie year, the going up against the Washington
Capitals. There was not a
first
carryover into that next season because they had the burden of expectations.
Yeah,
and
but
the Tavares
that first year was very start. Matthews scores 4 goals.
Totally.
The entire year is like, look at these rookies. Look at how exciting it is. Everyone was bought in. Everyone really thought that it felt like must-see TV for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The 2020 Raptors, the year after the championship.
Yeah, where people were picking them not to finish in the playoffs.
Yeah, and just that they were gutty. They lost Kawhi, but they ran back most of the group, and obviously it was interrupted by the COVID season. We'll never know what actually would have happened if not for that, because it really felt as though it derailed Pascal Siakam more than anybody else.
No one could get him a basketball.
But that team during that time, I felt like, oh, okay, this is the team of the city. This is the team of the country. And then, of course, the 2015 Blue Jays, post-deadline especially. Like, pre-deadline, they felt important. Everybody liked them. But post-deadline, where they basically won every single game, they got David Price and Troy Tulowitzki, and the city turned on its ear. The country turned on its ear. It rejuvenated baseball in Canada, I believe. That team, and then this pocket of the Toronto Blue Jays. I think that these Blue Jays resonate with the city more than any of those groups, which is difficult to say. Like, and that's no disrespect to the Raptors. It's more about that they didn't get the full year of...
Right. If Kawhi had come back in that year...
Of course, if Kawhi had come back. But, I mean, even without him, there was, like, this added emboldened energy. But, I mean, like, it got interrupted by COVID. Yeah,
sure.
So we only got up until January or February. I can't remember exactly when that thing started. I think it was early February.
COVID?
Yeah.
It happened on March 11th.
Okay.
You don't have the date tattooed into your brain?
No, I've honestly, man, I swear to God, COVID is like a fever dream where there's so much about it that I don't remember because I tried really hard never to think about it because it makes me so...
Have you seen the meme of the girl explaining something to the other girl and the other girl's got her hand on her face and it's like 2019 talking to 2026 and that's real.
That's what I mean. Let's not get derailed here because I can get easily derailed with COVID thoughts. The connection that this team has with the city right now, I think, is unparalleled in my lifetime in terms of at least the longevity of this, the stretch of this, the way that people love the players, the way that the team plays. And I do think that the team responds in part based on the way that the atmosphere is around them. Like, I don't think that they win those 2 games. Certainly not the second one, if not for the way that they are celebrated in the city and the atmosphere that makes it feel like every at-bat is important. I can't get enough of this team. I don't think anybody can. I think I could just do Toronto Blue Jays shows.
Yeah.
And I just stretch them out all the way through. I don't talk about any other team, and I think I would get no complaints.
I agree. And you mentioned those teams, and they were big, and we talked about them a lot, but there were other things happening. It just, like, the Blue Jays feel like they're swallowing everything up
Everything
right
else.
now.
Raptors played the Pelicans the same, like the Friday night.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a big game for the Raptors because they got punked by New Orleans in the game prior.
Yeah.
And the idea that you would even, like, reference that game that night, like, hey, the Raptors beat the Pelicans, I'd be like, yeah, great, shut up.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've got to talk about Radko Gudas tomorrow if he plays in this game, but it feels everything is Blue Jays, and part of it is that everything has conspired to make them the focal point because the Leafs won't be in the playoffs, and the Raptors, I think we know how it's going to go. They prove us wrong, children. Go ahead in the playoffs and upset somebody, I guess, if you end up in the top 6, or get out of a play-in tournament. Anyways, yeah, it is making everything else feel insignificant. And just about everybody on this team has a 100% approval rating. I would say Hoffman and Brandon Little, a couple of guys who also had toe stubbage in the
They do
first
not have
3
100% approval.
But those are the only 2 guys, right?
Yeah.
Who else other than those 2 guys?
No, everybody else is popular.
And I get it with those 2 guys. And I have, with the Hoffman, especially, I have a degree of.
I got both in early takes that matter.
I know.
Yeah.
And I don't need to remind people, I guess, how games 6 and 7 of the ALCS
God,
go.
you love that, though. I yelled at you at the game. I actually got, like, outrageously mad at Ben because he's been this guy who won't shut up about how Game 7 wasn't Hoffman's fault and he was so great and they don't get there. And I
don't do that.
I literally
don't
looked
do
at
that
you after Hoffman gave up
don't
the bomb,
do that.
and I screamed because I screamed at you like, "What are you, his father? You defend him?" And it was an ugly moment for us. But yes, I was so mad at Hoffman. Okay, you know what? Let's just start with this now because again, the emotion is incredible. The resonance with the city is, I think, again, I don't like to speak in these terms where it feels so hyperbolic and so in the moment, but it really does feel unparalleled to me. Just the way that people connect to this team and people love this team. People are hopeful for this team. And again, how likable they are just as a group. And even the new guys that came in here, just feels like we've been cheering for Okamoto forever. Like it is right away. It feels like he wasn't on the team last year. He feels like he was on the team last year.
How can they all be perfect in their debuts? We'll see. Cody Ponce is the last guy. We haven't seen him.
Cody Ponce, big pressure for Cody Ponce.
And law of averages, not all of them are going to be the best possible versions of themselves, are they?
Maybe there's just some magic. Anyway, the team is magical, and so it really is such a great time to be watching this team. And yeah, to be a sports fan, new or old, I think that it doesn't matter really how long you've been a fan of the Blue Jays to be able to kind of understand and appreciate how great this is. But yeah, okay, early takes that matter, that might not matter. Number one is that it doesn't matter how well Hoffman pitches. There's just going to be trauma there all season long.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's a results business, obviously. Sports are results. Results. Jeff Hoffman gave up a home run in the 9th inning of Game 7, protecting a 1-run lead where the Blue Jays get through that. They win the World Series. He didn't do that.
But also after a season where he gave up a record amount of home runs.
That happened.
If it hadn't been those two things in concert, there's more forgiveness in terms of like if he had been a lights out closer all year, he had pitched the way he did in the ALCS, and he gave up one, people would be like, what a random occurrence that was. Hey, you know what? He got beat this one time. But I think I had done this with you on multiple shows. Throughout the back stretch of the Blue Jays season, the only times where there was real consternation and grumbling in the crowd, if you went and sat in the seats and you were amongst the fans, whenever Jeff Hoffman would come out, if he didn't get the first runner out, if it was a walk or that player got on base, you would start to hear voices around you start to go like, why is this guy the closer? Who is this guy? His popularity ranking going into the postseason was probably dead last on the team. If not, it was him and Brendan Little.
Totally. And part of that was also that the process at the end of the year wasn't so good.
No.
Right? Like the velocity was diminished.
No.
It just didn't look like
Remember
the
he
same
had that
guy.
game against the Dodgers, and then they didn't pitch him for, like they hadn't pitched him for over a week because the series against the Rockies.
Yeah, that was the Fluharty game.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Bailed him out.
Yes, he did. Anyways, even in the postseason, and he had the great Game 6 and 7 of the ALCS, and he gave up 2 runs the entire postseason.
Yeah.
The second one was a little more significant than the first one, which I think came in the DS to the Yankees in the blowout of Game 4.
Yeah, I can't even remember it. So
yeah, it was at the end of Game 4 where they were projecting like 4 or 5 run lead. Anyways, even the process then wasn't like spectacular. He wasn't throwing 98. He was on Friday.
I know.
It's so and I know it's results, and he didn't get the result, right, despite the 4 strikeouts. But I will say, when you play 1 of 162, it is a little bit more about the process than the results. But you're right. Can I just, before you yell at me?
No, I agree with you.
Don't yell at me.
Buddy, this is the worst thing is he looked spectacular. And the pitch, I rewatched it when I was home the next morning.
Wasn't quite high enough.
Yeah, maybe you're right. It could it have been higher? Yes, because it was a home run.
Right.
He did look really good.
Yeah, 98. He struck out 4 dudes, and then he struck out 2 more yesterday and gave up a hit, but his first save.
But even when he gave up that hit, did not even like a little part of you go like, come on, like it's just he has to be perfect. His margin for error in terms of people being upset is so minuscule.
Upset is one thing. Expecting the worst is another. Like I think if he wins the Rolaids reliever of the year this year.
Okay, that's really it.
Yeah, but that won't impact the feeling you get going into a postseason in a big moment because you have that trauma, right?
Yeah.
He's got to get over that. He's kind of got the Leaf thing where it's like his regular season, great, like have a great regular season. He's kind of got that let's see what happens in October thing, despite the fact that I know I can't bring this up again, but yes, 6 and 7, they don't get through. Hey, George Springer, I'd say, was most instrumental in Game 7, but like behind him, I put Jeff Hoffman. Blue Jays don't win that series without Jeff Hoffman. But yeah, I like the process a lot. I like when my relievers throw 98. Part of the reason why he faltered down the stretch, and he gave up home runs basically all season long, but the way he looked at the end was different than the way he looked at the beginning when he was getting 6-out saves because the velocity was diminished. And maybe one had something to do with the other. And maybe this team has a better understanding of how to protect him throughout the course of 162 games.
That's the hope.
To keep his velocity up. And maybe that means working some other players some other relievers into the 9th inning situations.
So again, this take is not Jeff Hoffman stinks. This take is simply, I don't think we're going to be at any point this season where people are just exuberant, ecstatic, confident when he comes in the 9th inning. And probably other than Brendan Little, he has the least margin for error in terms of people being critical of him. And the only thing that actually worried me, like the home run, it sucked. And for it to happen in that moment sucked too. Because it really did feel like you have all these vibes, everybody's so happy, and you're right there, and boom, he gives up the home run. And to say the thing about the time machine, it felt like we never left. It was like, oh my God, we're back in the feeling of pain that Jeff Hoffman has put on us. The way he slumped after giving up that home run and the body language, I do think that it will be a bit of a challenge for him because, like, the major league pitchers,
he bounced back and struck some more guys out.
I know he did, but I'm just saying that the whole premise for these guys is like you forget the last play, right? How much can you just compartmentalize and let go of what happened before? And for him, like, he is the guy that gave up the World Series home run. He is the guy that talked about how he cost the team the World Series. I wonder how much he's going to be carrying that around throughout the season when he gets in some of those spots.
Probably a lot. Like he'd only be human to feel that way. And I know these guys are supposed to be superhuman, and that would be a superhuman ability to not think about that at all. During the regular season, I think it's easy enough to put it behind you, unless he's in a similar situation next week against the Dodgers. That one might be tough. But
yeah, if the home runs keep popping up as a problem.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to give up as many home runs this year. He gave up more home runs than any reliever in the American League last year.
The race for history.
Yeah, he gave up. But also, his career has not been this homer prone, right? That was an outlier, it felt like. And I think part of it was his being overutilized the beginning of the season. It not trending in a great direction that he's, given up a home run in 50% of his outings so far. But again, like process looks fine.
Yeah.
I also think there is more of a willingness, even if it's just not like, hey, he's no longer the closer. I believe John Schneider, when he's talking about different scenarios for different relievers in the ninth inning. And Tyler Rogers, I know, like, you need swing and miss in the ninth inning in theory, right? Because you can't get baseballed, right? That sucks. When you get BABIP'd in the ninth inning, you lose a game because a bunch of squibbers find holes. You want to strike people out. But with this infield, I don't know. Are we sure that what Tyler Rogers does in the most Tyler Rogers fashion isn't going to work in the ninth inning?
I don't want him as the closer. All right. Yeah. Let's do another early takes that matter. I'll pivot into more bullpen stuff, which is just Tyler Rogers is a stud, but he should be what Louis Varland was last year. Louis Varland ended up kind of in that fireman role where it was, hey, we're going to this guy in leverage spots. It doesn't really matter what inning it is. He's not necessarily the seventh inning guy. He's just hey, this part of the lineup is very difficult.
Yep.
To me, Rogers should be that guy. And even yesterday's game, they went to, who was the reliever? Oh, was it Fluharty?
They did go to Fluharty at one point yesterday. Are you talking about?
There was a moment in the game where they decided to go not to him. And it felt like a huge mistake because they ended up.
Lauer, Fisher, Nance, Fluharty, Hoffman.
Yeah. So I think it was Nance then, where when they gave up the runs.
I mean, okay, so Eric Lauer gave up 2 runs.
Eric Lauer gave up 2. Sorry, no, this would have been game 2 then. Sorry, this was the comeback game.
Yeah.
This was the second game. Of course it was. I just felt like there was a spot where he should have come in. I was like, hey.
Oh, well, that was the Fluharty got absolutely nickeled and dimed and he kept taking comebackers off him, and then in comes Brendan Little. He also gives up an infield hit.
That was it. Brendan
run.
Little came in as the kind of like, hey, we're going to fireman Brendan Little here, and it goes kind of backwards. My gut at the time was, why not go to someone who can just get you out of this with one ground ball, give you a double play, and have it be Tyler Rogers? Like the notion will be, hey, maybe he's the 8th inning guy, maybe he's the closer. I just like him as this is the hairy part of the game guy. Like, we're just going to you when things are the scariest.
You couldn't be more what you're supposed to be than what Tyler Rogers was in those first 2 appearances. Although that's not necessarily true because he struck out 2. He's not supposed to strike anybody out. So other than that,
in terms of debuts, I would say, okay, how would you rank them in terms of the new faces?
It's hard to get away from Cease 1.
Yeah, Cease is 1.
Cease threw 100, struck out 12.
Yeah.
He was using all his pitches.
Yeah.
He's doffing his cap to like the fans coming out for his bullpen and such before the game, where usually starters are so locked in they don't acknowledge what's happening around them. Like, how do you get away from Dylan Cease being the best version of a guy that finished twice in the top 5 in Cy Young Award voting?
I have it Cease 1, Okamoto 2, and Rogers 3.
I think there's no debate about it.
Yeah, but which is crazy because all 3 of those guys would be having a case where they would go like, well, look, what else was I supposed to do?
Yeah, and for Tyler Rogers, you had to throw 83, get ground balls, but like the types of ground balls you were getting it's almost like, those are too softly hit that they're actually tougher plays. Tyler, can you have them hit the ball a little bit harder so that it's not as close a play at first base? Because, man, you get Chandler Simpson hitting that's a base hit. So could you maybe have them hit the ball a little bit harder? I was
so
enamored.
Funny to watch hitters look overwhelmed by him in the opposite way.
Yeah.
Normally it's the Mason Miller throwing 102 and you go, well, I'm overwhelmed by this. I can't catch up with this. With this guy, it's the total opposite, where nobody's making good contact on it and they look foolish trying to chase 80. There was a couple that he was throwing that were sub 80.
Yeah, no, that's what, it's incredible. He can also pitch half the games that you play, seemingly. And I guess he never gets hurt either. Like, it's a rubber arm. It seems like that might hurt your back, but apparently not. Like, he's good. He'll do it whenever you ask of him. It feels, and it won't be perfect, right? Like, not everything's going to be as perfect as it feels for the first 3 games, but go through his game log last year. And he gave up runs, like 1 run every 10th outing, like very rarely multiple, and never home runs, right? It's just what he does. And he was the most version of himself in those 2 outings.
Do you think if he was across the room and you were like, hey, can you toss me that pen?
I asked him this.
Did you?
Yeah, he throws normally.
Okay.
He throws conventionally. Every other instance he throws
I'm glad you asked him
conventionally.
that question.
I asked him about
yeah.
garbage. I was like, you throw like in a trash can. What do you do? Do you
but a trash can, you can't throw it like that because you need some arc.
Oh,
I'm saying like if you just
No,
need
he
to
throws
get it over to someone.
And his kids, like his kids are learning like normal, conventional, but he sees them every once in a while because they see him on TV.
Of course.
And he's like, don't do that. You do that when you're desperate to salvage a major league career.
I do love the idea of him teaching his kids like that's wrong when he's making millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars throwing it that way. So yeah, I would say that overall, in terms of, I just, the new guys were spectacular. I want to dive a little bit more into those dudes, but like, let's just wrap up sort of our bullpen thoughts all at once here. Takes that matter, that might not matter. I'm already out on Brendan Little in terms of the comeback story. I'm sorry. Here's the difference. He looks like he's having a crisis of confidence immediately, and I kind of underestimated how important it was going to be for him to get off to a good start. Do I think that it's like, get rid of him? No, obviously I don't. Do I think that he's going to find his level to a certain degree? Absolutely I do. But the idea that I thought he was going to be like an elite reliever and have this spectacular season, I just don't know if that's there when that confidence flare-up can happen at any moment. Because you just look at his face and you look at the body language. Do you disagree that it was... But you do.
Well, not about like how he looks, because he was in the process of giving up a grand slam. By the way, if you give up a home run to Shea Langelier in the first series, you should be off the hook. Like, it doesn't even count. Like he turned in Barry Bonds for 3 games, right?
Yeah.
And it's like hitting 98 at his head, but also breaking balls in the dirt.
Yeah,
I think it
was also though like a lot of the idea that he was going to be so much better this year was not just the velocity. It was that he was adding extra pitches and that it was going to make batters feel like they were more off kilter. And that first experience was exactly what you got from Brendan Little all year long, which was all second half long.
Slight difference though, because normally it's lay off the breaking ball in the dirt. That's clearly not a strike, which that was. Instead, it's no, that one's getting taken over the wall.
I'm just saying, just the counts he worked himself into, and then looking at the body language when he was in those counts, and the lack of confidence of, hey, don't worry, he's going to now be able to blow his 98 by somebody. Yeah, it just didn't feel great. And so all I will say is, I can't sell my stock now because it's worthless. So
no,
I got to hold on to a little bit of it. The idea that he's going to
might have to buy more.
Probably no. That's what I'm saying. Bitcoin. I'm not buying more. That's actually what I'm saying here. Is I'm not selling it. I hope that he does rebound. I hope that he is an integral part of this bullpen. But that first impression was legitimately as bad as it could possibly be in terms of what that guy needed to have.
Totally. He and Jeff Hoffman had the worst first outings you can have.
But at least Hoffman had 4 strikeouts, and the ability to say...
Little struck out 2 in his outing too.
At least you could be able to say with Hoffman, like, hey, you know what? That's a great pitch that guy worked.
That was in the dirt. It wasn't even a strike. It was a breaking ball below the zone.
The balls that he was throwing in terms of the way that they were laying off of the breaking stuff and getting on base prior to that was what was the concerning thing, more so than it was the home run.
Yeah, I think already... You've seen that Mason Fluharty is the leverage lefty to start the season, right? Like, I think, the idea that...
Unless we're counting Rogers as the leverage lefty.
I mean, he's the leverage... Yeah, because he doesn't... It's so weird to have a guy throw from that angle who has no platoon splits, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Lefties, righties. If you swing a baseball bat, you can't hit it unless it's directly into the dirt right in front of the plate. But, yeah, I think the idea of him, it's like, wow... You not only is your 8th inning figured out with the Tyler Rogers, your 7th is also figured out because Brendan Little's untouchable and he's the first half version of himself. I think we need to wait on that one. I'm not throwing him out.
The premise of this segment, though, is to be hot take.
I know. I understand. I don't want to put cold water on it.
I was going to say that this whole thing is to be like, you look stupid because you said this thing, and it was after 3 games into the season. Like, I hope no one listening to this with a brain is like, well, they've staked all their opinions on the entirety of this year. Like, it's supposed to be reactionary.
Yes.
And my reactionary feeling was, I felt every year we get stuck into these narratives of a guy in spring, right? Spring is always when it brings the most hope about certain people.
Some people, they get laser eye surgery.
That's it.
Some people,
That's it. Now
they bought a pitching machine.
Yes. Some guys drop 15 pounds. Some guys add 15 pounds.
Yeah.
It's the time of the year where you talk yourself into a person being a new version of themselves, a better version of themselves. And with Brendan Little, we evaluated the stuff, and it was like, this is a new version of this guy. And then we saw him on the mound, and he looked with the same face as the guy who had the bad face and big spots. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is you can work on your arm, you can work on those pitches, you can develop 98 until you develop the brain that tells yourself.
Say face. Like, unless you get the face off, different face.
He's got to go to, I don't know, Phil helped me, it's a bad example. Phil Ivey. The Phil Ivey school of just looked like a stone-cold killer no matter what. Develop the poker face better.
He does have, and I think part of it is also his face is kind of like, he just like has kind of a rounder face, right?
I suffer from the same affliction.
Exactly. You guys have, you don't look the same, but you have same sort of roundish
We look
face.
like bigger crybabies when we're having crybaby moments. That's, I think, what you're driving at here.
Kinda? Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. It was hard. You're right. It was hard to think of him as the Terminator when he looks like a baby.
Yeah. I was going to say, if he looked like Javier Bardem, you're like, you know what? He let it go. He's over it. Yeah. So
you're right. No, you're right. Again, you're right.
Here's what I'll say. In terms of early takes that matter, and I do believe this, that the next time they're in a spot like that where Mason Fluharty has to come out of a baseball game because he gets 2 baseballs off his shins and there's 2 runners on base and John Schneider makes the move to go to Brendan Little, I'm going to be feeling like everybody else better not be available.
Right.
That this better be a situation where all the other guys are down because I'm going to be critical of you deciding to make that decision if it doesn't go, if it even does go their way. I'm going to be questioning that move for Brendan Little until he proves me otherwise, and that I shouldn't have zagged so hard in the spring because they were like, he's throwing 98 and he's got a different pitch mix, and I forgot about brains. Anyway.
Face.
Yeah, brains and face matter. All right, quick break, and then the rest of the way, it's all just positive stuff because, my God, what a weekend. All right, that's next.
Tired of waiting for the end of the game to get paid? That's why Bet365, an official partner of the NHL, has 3-goal early payout. If the team you're riding goes up 3 goals at any point in the game, they'll pay your bet out early. That's one less thing you have to wait around for. Bet365. Download the app and see what early payouts all about. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and if you're like me, you never stop wondering what the future holds. The one thing I do know is that you'll be able to enjoy my maple butter glazed donut at Tim Hortons because it's so fluffy and delicious that it'll never come off the menu. Never, ever, ever. Try it today at Tim's.
UHN has just been ranked the #2 hospital in the world. Hi, I'm Julie Kenville, CEO at UHN Foundation. Donor support helps us recruit the best doctors to care for our community. Help us today at uhnfoundation.ca.
It's not a baby shower without games. It's not a toast without glasses. It's not Easter without baskets. And with thousands of products under $5, it's not a party till you stopped at Party City. Party City, Canada. Now it's a party.
The federal by-elections in Scarborough Southwest and University Rosedale are on Monday, April 13th. Advance polls will be open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. from April 3rd to 6th. If you prefer, you can vote at your local Elections Canada office by April 7th, 6 p.m., or you can apply to vote by mail. Check your voter information card for all the ways you can vote. For the official information you need to vote, visit elections.ca or call 1-800-463-6868. It's our vote.
Great goal! Let's go to Dave at the bench.
Oh, what a shot, Gord. Last time we spoke, you had been really tired. Not anymore.
Yeah, snoring all night. Losing sleep ruins your game.
Problem snoring? Suffer from sleep apnea? Invest in yourself. Call Dr. Paulette Pillersdorf. She'll use her laser to help treat your snoring and oral appliance like a sports mouth guard for your sleep apnea. Your partner will thank you.
Thanks, Gord.
Book your appointment with Dr. Paulette Pillersdorf. Call 647-243-2006.
You know that moment when you want to quit smoking, but it feels harder than expected? Zonic can help. A nicotine pouch that curbs nicotine cravings fast, supporting your quit journey one step at a time. Proud to be the official smoking cessation partner of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because progress towards quitting is worth cheering for. Ask your pharmacist about Zonic today. This product may not be right for you. Always read and follow the label. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is highly addictive, only to be used by adults who are trying to quit smoking.
Spring is just around the corner, and that means Chevrolet's Truck Month is back. For a limited time, get $6,000 in total cash purchase discounts on the 2026 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 Custom Trail Boss, Canada's most affordable 2-inch factory-lifted V8 truck. With Silverado's off-road capability combined with its powerful 5.3-liter V8 engine, you'll be ready to take on whatever lies ahead. Hurry in, Truck Month won't last long. Visit your local Chevrolet dealer for details.
At Loblaws, get PC or Butterball frozen turkeys for $1.98 a pound until April 1st. Get it delivered with your first year of PC Express Pass. Just $2.50 a month. Conditions apply. See loblaws.ca for details. Loblaws.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.ca/Canada. That's ziprecruiter.ca/Canada.
ZipRecruiter. A serious car accident can change your life in an instant, but a team of trusted legal and medical experts can clear your path to recovery. I'm David Himmelfarb, HimPro's managing partner. Let my team demonstrate the HimPro advantage. It's how we negotiate with insurance companies, build a winning case, and deliver the largest settlement. Call 833-4HIMPRO for a free consultation or visit himpro.ca. HimPro, serious results for serious injuries, fast.
HimPro. Good news. I don't think I need orthotics. Yeah, I'm just going to stop running marathons and stuff.
But you don't run marathons, and your feet hurt all the time.
Well, then I won't run or walk or stand.
Perfect. Who needs Kintec and their expert fit custom orthotics anyways? You just have to stop using your feet.
Well, maybe I could levitate.
But can you levitate?
I'll go to Kintec.
Kintec footwear and orthotics.
Big plays, big wins, big money. Come on down, Canada, with Howie Mandel. All new episode of The Price is Right tonight, Tuesday at 8/7 Central on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
All right, we continue. Early takes that matter. Might not matter. With Ben Ennis after the Blue Jays sweep the Oakland Athletics.
No, the Athletics.
Oh, sorry.
And they're not the Vegas Athletics, and they're not the Sacramento Athletics.
The Athletics. No, to me, they're always the Oakland Athletics.
Sure.
You know, I stick with the city that gets robbed, and they got robbed. I can't believe they didn't heed the threats of Marshawn Lynch. Remember that video that went viral of him in city council where he's like, lost the Warriors, lost the Raiders, best not lose the A's.
Yeah.
Where is the Marshawn update on that? Anyways, all right, takes that matter. I really believe this. If Vlad does one more ice bucket on Kaz, I think he'll be killed. I think at the very least, we lose Okamoto back to Japan.
Yeah. He's had enough.
Yeah, like it's over for him. I've never seen anyone take to the ice bucket worse than Okamoto.
Well, he should stop being involved in so many great things.
Yeah. No, but that's actually another possible take is that he's up there. Maybe that's why he didn't call that for that ABS challenge.
Oh, my God.
On one of the most obvious you need to call. Because
I think they had 2 left in that spot, too.
I texted you that it was about honor.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you get when you come from honor culture. But I think maybe now in hindsight, that was him trying to avoid the ice bucket.
I can't disagree. It's also easy to forget that this guy, well, one, he's not like in his early 20s. He's 30 or approaching. He's 29.
Yeah,
Anyways,
he's 29.
He's a superstar,
right?
It's like
he felt like a superstar.
Yeah, and this is a big moment for him, no doubt. Like he wants to prove himself in the biggest and most important league in the world. But he is a superstar. He had pressurized moment, just played for Team Japan in the WBC, and in the middle of that order was Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, this isn't Roki Sasaki coming over here and then he walks his first batter and he cries because he's never suffered failure before.
In Japan, Roki Sasaki was trying to avoid the biggest markets in that league. He played for Tokyo.
Yeah.
Did Okamoto. So, yeah, it's like I'm sure he's happy to get off to this good start, but I don't think he has a confidence problem.
No, my early takes that matter is that Okamoto has a presence.
Yeah, he absolutely does, and he's hit velocity, right? We watched that first at bat, which couldn't have started worse, like Luis Severino throwing upper 90s, and he swords right through it. But then basically ever since that moment, he's worked counts, he's taken walks, he's hit pitches hard. The home run he hit yesterday was up an upper 90s fastball the opposite way that he hit 110 miles an hour. And absolutely a presence. Yeah, he's already, we talked about it going into the season that, okay, it's a nice way to start your major league career hitting seventh, and you don't want to put too much pressure on a guy who's making $60 million right out of the gate. But if he continues to hit, maybe he gets moved up. Next righty he faces, he's hitting fifth already. Like,
he's already up the lineup. Like, he's just, so I think that one of the dumbest things you can do is look at what Bo Bichette is doing to start the season with the Mets and how Okamoto has started, and immediately tell yourself that, like, well, this worked out for the Blue Jays, right?
Yeah. Where are the Brad Marchands talking about Bo Bichette in the tough market?
Well, yeah, of course. But I actually liked Bo's answer.
It was great.
He was like, they should have booed me earlier. And I was like, that guy gets it.
Yep.
What I will say, though, is I'm already ready to say Okamoto's a better third baseman than Bo Bichette is.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea that, like, we didn't know that this guy could field his position, I'm like, I know he can do it better than Bo.
Yes.
And here's the other thing I thought of between the two of them. Because, listen, again, it's early takes. He walks. He has an incredible eye.
Yes.
And we were talking about how you replaced the 188 hits that Bo had last season. And you go, man, he's not going to finish with 188 hits. But he is going to have way more walks than Bo Bichette ever had. He's just going to get on base. And
You're speaking my language now.
But this is just the feeling I had watching Okamoto is like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of ABs he has where we were like, that was a terrible at-bat.
Yes, which happens with Bo. You obviously live with it because it's like, oh my God, how did he hit that? What? And you have to approach him differently too as a pitcher, right? Because he's closer to Vladimir Guerrero Sr. than Vlad Jr. is. He can hit anything, anywhere, in any count. And he's got the power and all that. And that's all. You take all of the offensive package. And I think ultimately Bo Bichette's going to be the better if we're just taking defense out of it, Bo Bichette's going to be the better offensive player.
To finish with the better WAR.
Yeah.
I think that who would you take?
I would still take Bo Bichette.
Okay.
I would, but I think it's you're making some good points here, and you're talking to Mr. not walks. I get painted as Mr.
You
Walks.
love walks.
You know what I love? Not making outs.
Yeah, I know.
And he's made some outs, but I love competitive at bats.
Yeah, me too.
And the guy that steps up to the plate with some sort of a plan and knows that it's up to the pitcher to throw the strike and looking for something that you can do damage on. And eventually, if you get to 2 strikes, you just got to hang in there. But the idea that there's more than one way to skin a cat, especially if you're on this team with the offensive potential and early on in the season, say for, I guess, game 1 that they've shown. Yeah, I like the whole Okamoto experience.
I like everything about it. And so, I'm a big purveyor of first impressions matter.
Yeah.
So clearly his first impression to the market was excellent because, again, just getting on base, he's already got the home run out of the way. He's shown you everything. He's made plays at third base. Everything has been sparkling from his standpoint. But also first impressions matter for Blue Jays fans onto this guy. That he's brand new in Major League Baseball. He moved to a different continent. He's in this new place. He had other suitors. And here he is. And, man, you watch those Giants games, the crowds are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
They're so invested in the team, and they sing, they dance, they're rowdy. They've got all kinds of different celebrations for their players. They treat a lot of their stars like gods. And Okamoto's first impression of the Toronto Blue Jays is you show up here, and the entire Rogers Center is swaying. It's rocking through the first 3 games of the season.
Yeah.
How could he not be impressed? How could he not feel like more one of the guys? How could he not feel a little bit more comfortable in his settings, knowing he's already having success and that he's being embraced by the fan base this way? I think that this is like, I mentioned it. It already feels like we've known him for longer than we have.
Yeah,
and that's an amazing thing.
Which is crazy, too, because he barely played in spring, right?
I didn't watch any spring. So
well, yeah, but
I do my same thing, though. I watched the first couple games, and I watched and then World Baseball Classic started, and that was the only baseball that I was taking in.
And he played in the World Baseball Classic so he was barely in Dunedin. But
No.
it's not like it's impossible to overcome a slow start. Bobichette will be fine, right? Remember Rafael Devers? He had like 11 straight strikeouts to start his year last year and ended up with his normal numbers. But I will say it's easier this way, much easier. When the team's winning and you're a big part of it in your first 3 games, it is much easier. And he looks like a guy, feels like a guy that has turbo confidence.
I love him.
And as he should. But if ever there was any doubt, he's like, am I sure? Like I belong here and I can hit this? And
Well, also, yeah, that's it. It's just like bat to ball stuff. There is a feeling, again, he's not Bo. I'm not trying to make the case that he's Bo. But in the spots where they were like walking Vladdy and he's right behind him, I was like, all right, good luck. You just put another base runner on and this guy's at the dish and he can do something. All right, let's keep going. You want to do one or you want me to just keep going? I got a lot.
yeah, keep going.
Okay, my next one is just Dylan Cease is the ace of this staff. First impressions matter. Gossman was incredible. Like, truly, it was unbelievable to be there and watch him just deal the way that he did. And, God, I love hearing that cash machine, all the strikeouts that we got throughout the weekend from the Pink Floyd soundtrack. But Dylan Cease is just a different kind of animal. Most strikeouts by a Blue Jay in a debut with 12, and it felt effortless throughout it. He went deep into the ball game. The arm strength never wavered. It just, when you've got that level of stuff, this guy is literally something that just we haven't seen from a Blue Jays starter in a while in terms of potential. And yeah, I think he is who they think he is. And I really do think that he's like a massive ceiling changer for this team.
Yeah, I think he might be even better than that because you didn't mention the fact that he wasn't a 2-pitch pitcher on Saturday.
Yeah.
That he threw 9 sinkers, 9 knuckle curves, 8 changeups, and 7 sweepers.
Mm-hmm.
And he was incorporating them all, and he was staying in the zone. He's literally threw 100. He's the first Blue Jays starter to touch 100 since Brandon Morrow.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
It is truly insane to think about, even if he was as mediocre as he was last year, what that looks like playing in front of this defense on the Blue Jays. But to be even better than that, because the Pete Walker magic sauce can apply to you. And for Robbie Ray, it felt like refining just being a 2-pitch pitcher.
Yeah.
But for Cease, it might be actually expanding the arsenal a little bit. The A's are probably going to be about a 500 team, but not because they can't hit. And maybe they're, obviously the lineup's off to a slower start than they would have liked, but that top of the order can go toe to toe with just about anybody in baseball, man.
Yeah. The thing with Cease, though, that I couldn't help but think watching him, because, man, he had 7 straight strikeouts, and it felt like if that happens with a guy, you feel as though there's some measure of luck that ends up happening with that, right? Like, hey, they didn't lay off. There was a couple of bad ABs in there, and you felt like, oh, that was partially the lineup you were facing.
No,
when he had the 7 straight Ks, it was like, no, this guy's just dominating these dudes. It's all him that's making this thing happen. Last year, when the Blue Jays were going to the playoffs, we all agreed that they wanted the Yankees because they had Max Fried instead of Garrett Crochet. And the feeling was that if you got Garrett Crochet, you were going to be in a matchup where you didn't have the starting pitching advantage.
Yeah.
There's now an outcome for the Toronto Blue Jays with this guy where no matter who they face in the first round of the postseason, it's at the very least level.
Yeah. Did I check the American League Cy Young Award odds after that start? I may have. And I believe he was like further down the line than he probably should be, right? Because it's Derek Skubal's to lose. We all understand that.
Yeah,
but
it's easy to say you're further down the line when Tarek Skubal exists, but yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's not like he hasn't done it before. He's finished top 5 a couple of times already, and he alternates years, right? So this is his contending for a Cy Young Award season, coming off the ERA of 4.5. I have one.
But that's what I mean, though. You agree that it's like that the one thing that felt like other teams' advantages when you were projecting out and going like, oh, if Garrett Cole gets back to being Garrett Cole. Oh, if Garrett Crochet is there. Oh, if Tarek Skubal, you're in a series against him. Jays have now figured out how to add a guy that could absolutely level that playing field.
Yes. And will you feel better about Skubal or Crochet or theoretically Cole in one game?
Maybe.
But it won't be miles apart if it is. And this isn't even, I mean, the guy who could be the best pitcher of the bunch is still yet to throw a pitch in the major leagues this year, and Trey Savage, who we saw dominate in the postseason. So that's like not too far afield to talk about.
I have Joe Siddall next, so I'm going to dive into more of this stuff because like today needed 2 hours of Toronto Blue Jays talk, so maybe I won't get to all these things, but I'll do this one. The Eric Lauer situation is uncomfortable if he continues to pitch this way.
Yeah, we'll see. I would say pressure's on Cody Ponce tonight.
Big time.
Yeah, Cody Ponce and
those two feel like they're in more of a battle than
who else is it
Yeah.
to be knocked out of the rotation, and who's the guy that you have least faith in? I think at this point, it's either Ponce or Scherzer because it's hard to. The other three guys were amazing, but and I know Scherzer was throwing 95 in spring, but we also saw the end of the year and he bounced back in the playoffs and he gave up 1 run in Game 7, yada yada yada. But he's also 42, got that. Ponce is a total unknown, right? I know he has upper 90s stuff as well, right?
This is a horrible act to follow, that this guy has to go up after they went, double-digit strikeouts, 7 Ks in a row, 9 Ks for Eric Lauer.
And the fan base has equity with Lauer,
Yeah,
too, right?
that's
he
the
was
thing.
there. He was screwed out of a rotation spot last year.
Yeah.
Because by merit, he should have been there.
But that's what I'm
Are you
saying.
going to do that again because this other guy's due $30 million?
That's what I'm saying.
Nuts to that. By the way, so if your argument also for Lauer to go be the long man is he has relieving experience. So does Cody Ponce.
Yep.
So this is, it's getting real because it's not next week, might not be the week after, but pretty clearly reinforcements arriving threefold. And man, how interesting does it get if things don't take care of themselves? I know.
They absolutely can. And you're better off to take, hey, Eric Lauer isn't throwing 9 strikeouts and not walking anybody and gave up the 1 home run. It's like, okay, whatever. Even if you don't think Eric Lauer is a 3-time through the order guy, which I don't. Like, I think that it's like you want to get him through 2 and pitch that way. That's kind of the recipe for him, right? Is like he's 5 innings. You try to get 5 2/3. You feel phenomenal from Eric Lauer.
Yeah.
You're still not going to mess with that. You have a lefty starter, which is something that they don't have,
right?
Who can break up the look in terms of these other guys. He has had the success as a starter a year ago. But the other part of the equation is you have to think about how it's going to have a ripple effect on the rest of the roster and keeping guys. And again, to me, it's a meritocracy. And if Eric Lauer doesn't pitch well and Cody Ponce is, it's like it's a no-brainer. He goes to the bullpen.
Yep.
All I'm saying is if he is pitching well, I don't think you have the same equity with him as you did last year where it was like, yeah, we're going to mess with you and make it a 6-man. Oh, yeah, we're going to take you out of the rotation. Oh, yeah, we're going to put you back in the rotation. He's a pending free agent with a lot to gain by being a starting pitcher this year. And so if he is pitching incredibly well and they decide that he's going to be the guy out, I don't think it's going to work the same way with him this year as the other way around. So anyway, it's an amazing problem to have. He was spectacular, but yeah, early Lauer stock is high. Next, Ernie Clement is a new guy.
I mean, he's the same guy, but
yes,
he's
but
a
that's
new
what I'm
guy.
saying. I think that there's a real evolution with the player. And do I think that, his OPS can be what it was in the postseason? Like, of course not. But I think that he has actually unlocked something with the confidence. Will he have slumps? Is he going to have some stretches where he is a bottom of the lineup guy? But in terms of dudes that you could stick in the 7-8 hole on a baseball team,
dude, because he has the Bo Bichette offensive profile,
Yeah.
right? He's poor man's Bo Bichette offensively.
I just again, we're coming off of the playoff series, but the confidence I have when he's at the dish and they need to move runners around, it's extremely high. And I think he's a different guy. I think that he's a different guy than the one that entered last season.
Yeah, absolutely. Entering last season, I was dubious of the idea of giving him as much playing time as it seemed like the Blue Jays were going to, even though I knew the defense could play. And could he be a close to league average offensive player? Sure, I guess. But can't you do better than Ernie Clement? Imagine my stupidity.
Yeah.
When it's like, no duh.
Again.
He's got to play every day. He can play Gold Glove defense no matter where you want. He's also the only other shortstop on this roster outside of Andres Jimenez. But yeah, you don't think he could play Gold Glove second base for this team? Okamoto needs a blow at third base. And is he going to be a league average offensive player, but an extreme contact hitter at the bottom of your order? And God forbid Andres Jimenez finally, does figure it out. I'm on high alert because he started last year even hotter than this start.
Yeah.
But you don't think there's confidence earned from playing with that Venezuela team?
I also think that he has the clutch gene. That like he does not get.
Yeah, we saw that in the
overwhelmed.
playoffs.
Yeah, he just doesn't get overwhelmed by the moment. So when you need Jimenez to come up in a big spot, again, you need contact, and that's why one of my other things was good luck to righties that are fastball primary with mediocre other stuff that are going to face this Blue Jays lineup this year.
Yeah, this is already. Yep, they were the second best offensive team in the American League a year ago, and yeah, they lost Bo Bichette, but already we've seen. I think Okamoto can make up 80% of that offense, if not more. And the rest of these guys, the confidence that they showed through 162 games and the reps of the postseason, I will say the Barger start to the season. I do like the process a little bit more than the results are happening because he took the big walk with the bases loaded, didn't get ahead of himself. Who didn't think that sacrifice fly was a walk-off home run or at least off the wall?
Yeah.
But yeah, and you know what? If he can't hack it as the cleanup hitter, I think you could probably get that production out of Okamoto the way he started the season.
Ugh, it was awesome. I'm so happy that they're back. Quick break. Thanks to Ben Ennis for doing this. Joe Siddall is next.
University Health Network has been named the #2 hospital in the world. I'm Kevin Smith, President and CEO of UHN. We're united to create the best care, education, and research. Visit uhnfoundation.ca.
A great meal starts with a great egg. Whether it's breakfast with the family, lunch with friends, or a late-night bite, make it better with Conestoga Farms eggs. Proudly produced by local Ontario farmers, Conestoga Farms eggs are known for their award-winning naturally golden yolks. Conestoga Farms eggs brings quality and sophistication to every dish. Perfect for plating, posting, sharing, and impressing. Follow them on Instagram at Conestoga_eggs. Conestoga Farms, because local matters.
The legendary Yeti thrives in cold environments.
Just like my Subaru, all-wheel drive is like having an extra pair of Yeti legs.
The Yeti's natural habitat is in colder climates, but it's been spotted all over Canada.
Just like Subaru, we go everywhere, enjoying winter with the little ones. They grow up so fast. Legendary winters await, so hurry into your local Subaru dealer for lease and finance rates as low as 0.5%. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Subaru, uncommon comes standard.
Meet iPhone 17e, a whole lot for a lot less, with an almighty all-powerful A19 chip, and Ceramic Shield 2, built to survive this, and this, and a 48-megapixel fusion camera with 2x optical quality zoom, and double the starting storage of iPhone 16e, and long-lasting battery life for hours of watching the studio.
That's the dream!
And it comes with Apple Intelligence, and you can charge it with USB-C, or with MagSafe accessories, and a whole lot more, all for a lot less. Get the new iPhone 17e at TELUS today. Battery life varies by use, pricing compared to iPhone 17.
You know what actually causes arguments? Snoring, back pain, one person wanting to sit up, the other wanting to lie flat. You know what doesn't? The fabric color on the base of your adjustable bed. At Leva Sleep, we make comfortable adjustable beds, better for your back and better for your relationship. Hurry, our different color clear-out ends today. Save up to 60% on adjustable bed packages, plus save the tax. Same better bed, just last year's colors, gone today. Leva Sleep, the better bed.
Summer bookings are off to the races.
And if you're still thinking about it, ambitious. Book early with Sunwing and get a $100 voucher per pair. Plus excursion discounts, resort perks, and more. So while everyone else is doing last-minute vacation gymnastics, yeah, you don't want to do that. You're saving on room upgrades, tours, and all the good stuff. So book by April 12th with your local travel advisor or at... Conditions apply. See sunwing.ca for details.
Okay, category is ways Desjardins Insurance goes the extra mile to make insurance easy. First question, what are some of the things you can easily do online or in the app?
Oh, view your policy.
Add a new driver.
Oh, update your address when you move?
Easy. You guys are good.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
Let's flip a coin. Heads, you grow your business. Tails, you earn on your cash. Most banks make you pick a side. Float says, be all in. With Float, eligible Canadian businesses get up to $3 million in flexible, interest-free credit to keep building, all while their idle cash earns up to 4% interest in Float. Spend on credit and earn on balances. Heads and tails. Being all in means giving your business both. Learn how Float is all in on Canada at floatfinancial.com.
Life's noisy enough. Everything demands your attention. So here's something rare. Silence. It's underappreciated. Kind of like windows from Magic. With a 40-year warranty on all parts and labor, you'll spend less time worrying and more time enjoying. While others add to the noise, Magic cuts right through it. Find out more at magicwindow.ca.
Hey, it's Blake Murphy.
And I'm Matt Bonner.
Join us weekday mornings at 11 as we break down all things Toronto Raptors.
It's the Raptor Show on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and wherever you get your podcasts.
CJCL Toronto.
Again, spectacular opening weekend for the Blue Jays. The crowd was incredible. The starting pitching was literally unprecedented. Most Ks in the first 3 games of a season for anybody in Major League Baseball history. It's a pretty long sport. It's been around for a while. Pretty unbelievable to be able to have that. Bats were great. Again, this immaculate. Perfect. Everybody's happy. It feels like we got in the time machine and we just were right back into the postseason and that nothing ever happened. Nothing really ever changed. Joe Siddall, the Jays TV analyst, he joins me now. What's up, buddy? How we doing?
Feels like the first week in November, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The way you just described it does. It was an emotional weekend, and I think more than anything, you kind of nailed it. It's kind of like it's the team we saw in 2025. They're just continuing on with a few different faces.
I gotta say, I was expecting the atmosphere to be awesome. Like I certainly didn't think that it was going to be off or that there was going to be anything other than a real celebration. But you know, when they were doing the video montage before the home opener of the little kids talking about what the Blue Jays meant to them, and I'm sitting there just like getting choked up in the crowd, being like, okay, we need to start the baseball game and end this thing now and get going. So I'm just. You know, I drank an entire can of Bud Light before the game even started because I was just doing the like real sip over and over thing to kind of choke back the emotion of the moment. And I went, man, this team has to kind of feel that too. They come out, they perform spectacularly well. And yeah, I mentioned this with Ennis earlier, but I've been doing this now for a while. I've lived in the city for a long time. There have been special teams in this market. But the moment that this group has right now in terms of connection with the fan base, atmosphere down at the ballpark or any stadium for that matter, I really do think that it's at least for me unprecedented in my lifetime. And I'm kind of counting last year with this year's team because it's like, I guess the question even to you is, are you at all surprised by the emotional rollover?
I'm not surprised at all, and I'm going to tell you, I got hit the same way you did with the kids and the fans.
Yeah.
When the fans were thanking the players the
Yes.
way they did, the best part too was then they had some shots of the players, and it was just they were stone-faced. And you know, as players, they know they're playing for a country. They know they're loved by the fans. You know all of those things as a player, but you don't really stop and think about it too much. They're busy playing in a World Series. They're busy getting ready for a new season. And the faces of some of those players when they showed them, I mean, it hit you, it hit me. I think it hit all the fans, but I think it really hit the players too, because that's when you really realize when you hear that, and that's why the Blue Jays they do such a great job with these ceremonies. But yeah, that was a special part of it for players to be like, wow, like what an impact we have had on this city, this country, Blue Jays fans everywhere. So it doesn't surprise me because, you know, John Schneider has come leaps and bounds in this few years, right? I mean, he uses the word culture all the time. This stuff all sounds good when you're winning and playing winning baseball, but you know what? They're winning and playing winning baseball, and they came a hair from winning a World Series, and now they're just taking off where they left off. So great start. They've created it. I don't think anything is going to change. And hey, there are going to be wins, there are going to be losses, there are going to be losing streaks. But the big part here now is I think you have a group led by Schneider and his staff that can handle those and can continue to forge forward through those, which is a trait of a good team.
Well, you also, I think in this market in particular, especially because of the Toronto Maple Leafs, we always look at attention as more of a negative. Like you're under a microscope. Everybody's watching you. Everybody's paying attention to every little detail. Oh, well, there's pressure. There's pressure. There's pressure. And with this team, you really see, I think, the positive side of this, which is, of course, it's 162. It's an incredibly long season. You just mentioned they're going to have lulls. That's obvious with a 162-game sample size. But there's also an element of the games are going to matter more for this team. Maybe the lulls don't last as long as they do. Maybe more of the comebacks happen because you are playing in a ballpark where the energy is going to be contagious for the vast, unless this season goes off the rails, you're going to be getting something like that for the entirety of the year. And I would imagine that as a player, when you're getting that kind of reception from the fan base, you're getting that kind of an atmosphere, it's much easier to stay locked in.
It's much easier to stay locked in, and players feel that. I mean, we've heard comments from players already. Now, the seventh inning rolled around, you can feel the crowd getting right back into it. So they feel that energy at home, and I think playing at home is certainly an edge. Do you have to play at home to win? No. But I think what they feel just as much as the fans behind them in that edge is the team that's been constructed, and it's been changed. It's been ever evolving, and they're in a kind of a happy place right now where they've got all this contact. These guys don't strike out much. And oh, by the way, they can hit over the fence too. And that's what really showed yesterday, which was pretty cool, especially when you get the new guys with Okamoto and Sanchez going deep. So a lot of it, I think that confidence inside that clubhouse comes from when they look around at each other and they know what each other can do, like what guys provide. And they're all different. Ernie Clement's going to bring you a different skill set than Dalton Varsho, different than George Springer, and it goes on and on.
So this is difficult because there's so many great performances. But out of everything that happened through the first three games, the most impressive individual performance for you was?
Looking forward to Dylan Cease start game 2 after watching Kevin Gausman carve up the Athletic Centers. And I said to the guys, I think we're going to see double-digit strikeouts again. I mean, if Gausman got 11, he's going to get double digits. And his stuff, his stuff is like electric. This is like Cy Young stuff. And I'm not saying that because of one game. Just all of his work in spring training and being down in Florida, conversations I've had with him. This guy's like a freak when it comes to, I said it to Dan on the broadcast the other day. It's amazing when you hear from great players. This guy just signed a $200 million contract and he's curious. He wants to get better. He was talking to us about how his interviews with the Blue Jays and the pitching department and asking what they can do for him. How can they make him better? He was frustrated. He was a top 5 Cy Young finisher. And then he comes the next year and he's got a 4.5 ERA. Then he's a top 5 Cy Young finisher. And he's good next year. He's got a 4.5 ERA. He wants to find that consistency, but this isn't a guy that signed the big deal. And now he's going to just go cruise on the rest of his career. He wants to be great. And you can see the stuff though. Like his last spring start is when my eyes opened up because you look at his numbers and he's kind of a 4-seam slider guy. He mixes in the other pitches. And that last spring game we did on TV, it was all these different pitches and he was sinking balls in on righties. He was breaking out the changeup. And I remember talking about it on the broadcast. So I went up to his locker the next day. I said, so what was that? He said, 6 shapes. He just said, just 2 words, 6 shapes. I've got 6 shapes now. And he talked very confidently about it and feeling good about those pitches. I don't think you were going to argue that the 4-seam slider combination is going to be those most deathly weapons. But, man, when he's got other ones now to be a little unpredictable, it's a funky delivery, right? He's got the short arm that hides the ball so well. I was talking to Gausman about it actually yesterday. He's like, you can't see the ball. And that's another pitcher talking because, these guys talk pitching every day of the week. So just fascinating, and his ceiling, man. Oh, he's going to be a good one.
I think that's part of the reason why he was such a good fit with this team is that he is hungry to get better. Like when I interviewed him right after he got signed, he came on the show. And that was the first thing that he illustrated to me about his interest with the Blue Jays, is that a lot of it had to do with the presentation that they gave him in terms of how they thought he could improve. But you know what else helps? And again, he was spectacular. The stuff was insane. It felt as though the Blue Jays have a guy now that really can go toe-to-toe with the other Cy Young candidates that are going to be in Major League Baseball and not feel like they're going to be at a disadvantage in a pitching matchup. But one of the first plays of the game is Davis Schneider lays out for a baseball. And one of the big narratives for Dylan Cease coming here was, well, yes, he needs to cut down on walks. Yes, he needs to avoid the first inning blowups. Yes, he needs to be able to cut down on the pitch count, even though he strikes out a lot of guys. But there is going to be a bump for him coming to a team that actually plays plus defense. And Schneider makes that play. And you saw the way that he reacted to it and the way that it helped him settle into that ball game. And I went, yeah, that matters. That is going to be a big plus in the column for Dylan Cease this year, is that when he is trying out those 6 different pitches, when he is trying out those other shapes, that he feels a little bit more emboldened that if he does end up making a mistake, that there's a defense behind him that's going to be able to make plays.
The pitchers can pitch so confidently with that great defense. And, David Schneider's probably one of the last ones on my list, and I'm sure was on Dylan's list in terms of guys that are going to help him defensively. So that was just an extra bonus. I mean, he's more of a fly ball pitcher. First name that comes to mind is your center fielder. Dalton Varsho is going to help him a ton, right? All those balls in the gaps and behind him. But David Schneider gets a good jump, really took a good route on that ball. Dan and I were talking about that because Dan talked to Davis about that. And he said best catch or second best catch, because you remember the one he made on Owen Casey last year, the Canadian lad. But he said this was better because the one on Casey actually took a bad route. If you remember, he went straight to his left, then he misread, had to go back and kind of recovered nicely, but it wasn't a great actual play in terms of his route to the ball. This one, he got a good jump, took a good route to that baseball and fully laid out for it. So yeah, Dylan, and the other thing is, even though you're a fly ball pitcher, you're going to get balls hit on the ground. And man, oh man, how about the middle of the infield with Clement and Jimenez now every day, those two guys, already played a lot of third last year. And I think what we've seen from Okamoto already in the spring a little bit, and then now he's going to be a very capable third baseman. I don't know if he's going to win a Gold Glove, but he looks like he's going to be solid. We know what Vladdy does at first, and you get those two guys in the middle. And oh, by the way, what about the guy behind the plate? Like, Alejandro Kirk is just stealing pitches all week, and I just couldn't believe the Athletics were not challenging more. And I think we're going to see opposing teams, like that word's going to get around. I felt with this ABS that, and really helped a guy like Gosman, who's got the splitter down that Kirk handles so well, and then Cease with his nasty slider. It was virtually unhittable on that day. I just think that hitters need to be more aware. Like, to me, if I'm a hitter, I'm challenging more against the great catchers like Kirk, because he's deceiving the umpires.
Yeah, except I can't remember who had this take, and they were on with me last week, so forgive me for forgetting whoever it was. They mentioned that they thought ABS was actually going to make guys who frame pitches even more important, because you're throwing guys off. And that was the feeling that I did get from Kirk when he was stealing some of these pitches. Is like, man, you got to be pretty bold to tap the helmet if you also think it's a strike, right? Like, if you're looking at where that is, like, it's located in his glove, and thinking to yourself, like, is this really where I'm going to tap? And then even if you've got a guy that's framing it so well, and it gets you off balance, to your point about, like, well, maybe you're tapping just because you think that's what he's doing. Well, it does shift. Like, I was surprised at how hard it felt in terms of import when teams, because I watched a bunch of baseball this weekend, when teams would burn the one early and then be down to the one challenge remaining for the rest of the game. And because now you're in a spot where it's like, you better save that for the ninth inning. You better save that for leverage. So the rest of the game, if all of a sudden he's framing up pitches and stealing strikes, you're screwed and you don't really have any recourse.
Yeah, the psychology is going to be fascinating. We thought about that all spring. And, spring training is one thing. We know when the season starts, it's going to be for real. Now let's start seeing what's happening. Vladdy had one early, probably too early, not really a crucial pitch. I mean, every pitch is crucial to Vladdy, but like, you probably want to save it for in case it's a strike three or that sort of thing. So that was kind of a wasted one. But again, they'll talk about this stuff. I'm sure they will. There are guys with the A's that, we said it's a young team. I'm sure they're a little hesitant, but I'm sure they'll talk as a group and say, we need to be a little better here when we think we got a shot. But yeah, I think the strategy is going to be critical, because you have to have one late. You don't want Vladdy getting rung up on a terrible pitch in the 8th inning when you're down 1 run. And not just Vladdy, any other dangerous hitters. So that's going to be interesting. I'm sure there will be lots of conversations about it. We mentioned Okamoto on the broadcast. There was one he definitely should have challenged, critical part in the game, and he didn't. And I will guarantee you there will be conversations had there to say, hey, nicest guy in the world, soft-spoken and all, but you've got to grab the bull by the horn sometimes in a critical situation, because, again, very dangerous bat. We saw that yesterday.
Well, we're just in the outset of this, right? So the strategies are going to evolve, and teams are going to start to figure stuff out. Players are going to adapt to this thing. But what were your early impressions of ABS?
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I'm as old school as they come, JD. I didn't like when it first started coming in, because my first reaction was, I can't stand the fact that you're going to take the ability, some catchers, and Kirk's one of them, we see it every day here in Toronto, that can receive the ball so well that to me is a skill. It's a skill that not everybody has, and it's a skill that should be rewarded by the team and by that individual player. Now, obviously, with the challenge system, you still can utilize that because there are only 2. And that's why I liked the challenge system as opposed to full on. Now, as we sit here in 2026, how many years away is full on ABS robot umpires? Like, so not challenged, just everything's going to be in. The pitch is going to go by, and there's going to be a little voice in the umpires here that says strike, and he's going to go strike. I don't want it either. I still don't think I'll ever go there, but you see games, and we're probably going to see one sometime, maybe in the next week or so. Like, it's going to happen where the last pitch of a game, like in the WBC, is wrong, and the team doesn't have the challenge. So maybe they adjust the rules. I would like that. I don't think anybody wants to see a game end like that. The whole idea of replay is to get the call right. You're trying to correct the egregious errors. I think the same thing here with the ABS. So you're trying to correct the egregious errors, but you don't want that to happen to end the game. So maybe they start the ninth inning with every team still have like the extra inning rule where you have one, or whatever the case may be, to avoid that happening. There'll be unintended consequences. It's going to happen. This happens all the time. It's kind of like when the double play rule came in, where you can't take out the second baseman. And again, I'm not about Chase Utley blowing up shortstops, but I think you should be able to play the game of baseball and go in and break up a double play, because those middle infielders, again, like catchers framing, some are better than others at turning a double play, getting out of the way, hopping around the bag. To me, that's a skill that some have that others don't, or some are much better than others. So they should be rewarded. But instead, you wipe out that whole rule. Now I just feel it's kind of vanilla around second base. It's like you can't really get there, right? So I don't want to take that. Those to me are both two examples of the art of the game that makes this game so special.
Again, it's early, and so maybe I won't feel this way in a month. But I actually don't want them to have the added challenge come the ninth inning right now, because the beauty of the ABS stuff that I don't think I took into account is just when you watch a baseball game, everybody plays manager, right? That's part of the fun, is that you get to be like, yeah, this is who I would go to here. This is what I would be pitching here, right? It's always these different outcomes where you get to play the game mentally in your own head. And I think that ABS presents this cool added opportunity for fans to do that. Like, oh, they got to challenge that one, or save the challenge on this one, right? Like when Vladdy used that one that you referenced, I think most people looked at it and went, hey, there's nobody on base and it's 0-2. It's early in the ball game. Don't just holster that one. Don't use that one. And if you don't end up with ABS challenges in the ninth, that means you missed 2 calls already. So if the umpire makes the mistake, I view it as that, well, that's your mistake as a team. You made 2 incorrect challenges and you put yourself in this position where you can't do it. It's the same thing with the NBA with coaches' challenges, right? Like they only have the one if they get it wrong, and then you get 2 if you get it right. And when coaches use it on an out-of-bounds play in the second quarter, and then they don't have it on a critical foul miss at the end of the game, people don't usually go, well, you should have the added one at the end of the fourth quarter. They blame the coach. And that's the way that I think it should be, where you blame the team. The other added benefit of it that I never took into account was how awesome it is to see an umpire shamed by a packed stadium of fans who watched the call get overturned in favor of their team. I can't stand umpires. I think that there's so many of them. This is my take. If you know the umpire's name, it's for all the wrong reasons, right? Like, I like it when it's an umpire and I don't know who their name is. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But if it's somebody back, like CB Buckner got embarrassed this weekend, right? Like he ended up having 6 calls overturned. I'm like, that's awesome. But the pop we got in the home opener when that call got overturned for the Blue Jays, and feeling like the umpire had to wear that was as good as I felt. That was felt as good as the win. That was like a secondary win. I love that.
I know the sentiment is probably shared by many fans regarding umpires. As a catcher, we do know all of their first names, and we all get to know them because you have to, before ABS.
Yeah, you know their kids' names, their wife's name, all of it.
Oh, you had to schmooze them, right? When you're going out to the plate for the first inning, it's like, hey, Jim, how we doing today? Good.
Yeah.
How are things? Where are you guys coming from? Where are you guys going out for dinner tonight? Need any good references? Where do you want to go? It's body. And by the third inning, you miss a pitch. It's like, hey, Jim, where you got that? I've got that on the edge. He said, just off, Joe. I was like, okay, well, stay with me now. He's got some good sync on it today. He'll catch that edge a lot. Like, there's always that lovey-dovey little conversation because you're trying to get calls. And honestly, JD, this fans don't want to hear this, but 99.9%, including CB Buckner, they're good guys. They're wonderful guys. It's just they're
Joe
in a
West?
role that is. I said 99.9.
Yeah, that's
I had CB Buckner a lot in the minor leagues, and he's a wonderful human being, nicest, most gentlest soul. But I had a lot of problems with him too. He tossed me one day because there was a ball that dribbled out in front of home plate, a bunt, and I went and grabbed it. It was right on the line, and I picked it up, fired to first, got the guy, and he put his arms up and said, "Foul ball." And I said, CB, foul ball. I had chalk all over my fingers from where I picked the ball up on the back then. It was a chalk line. And I showed him my fingers. It's like I chalk all over my fingers. He said, no, Joe, I was like, it couldn't have been like, you think I reached over the line and touched the line and then grabbed the ball, foul territory. But again, we had our moments. But they are good guys. I felt bad for Ryan Blakeney yesterday. Got chopped up by his mask there. He's bleeding down the cheek and the innings going on. And that's another story.
It's more just that I feel as though ABS actually has umpires more on their toes, because now you know there is recourse. And again, I'll bet you the numbers don't bear this out so far. Like even CB Buckner, who had the worst game of the weekend, was still calling balls and strikes correct. I think it was over 92%, right? So you're right. These guys are mostly good at their jobs. I'm sure they're fine human beings. But it always does feel like, when you were helpless at the power of the umpire, and that sometimes you did feel like an umpire took over a game a little bit more, expanded his zone a little bit more, and decided like it was a bit of a moving strike zone. And it was so frustrating as a fan to watch games like that. And now with ABS, it just feels as though we have like a little bit more of a voice in the game, that there's someone else that's able to hold these guys accountable in the moment to what they're doing and hopefully sharpen the focus and hopefully improve the game. That's my only feeling on it.
Sure, and you hope that is the case. But I mean, my goodness, we show some of the replays and the ball's like a tenth of an inch or 2/10 of an inch off. Like, how is the human eye supposed to see this stuff? Like, it's crazy, right? You ever seen some of the old clips with Eric Gregg in Levon Hernandez I caught with the Marlins, and he was flipping stuff. Charles Johnson was behind the plate. It's an old clip I've seen on online, and it's hilarious. So I mean, that egregious stuff. Yeah, I think again, just like replay, we want to get rid of the egregious mistakes. But my goodness, there is that room for error. I think there has to be. The game's still played by humans.
That's it. There still
even
is.
though we have the technology. But
that's why it feels blended right. It feels blended right, where you just have the two challenges.
Good spot.
And I just don't want to see it get expanded to the point where you're kind of alluding that you're afraid of could happen, where it's just like it's the earpiece and everyone's like, oh, we have to have it perfect the entire game. It's like, no, I don't want to remove the strategy. I don't want to remove the human element. Okay, so one of my favorite things to do with you every year before the season starts is after spring, talk to you about guys' different approaches. You're very dialed into this, and almost every year you've called something at the outset that actually ended up mattering, whether it was a positive or a negative for a player. Like, hey, don't believe this hype or do believe this hype. The guy I want to start with you first on is Dalton Varsho, because his spring was spectacular. Like, did he strike out? He was
unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So he starts the opening weekend. I don't think that he was one of the big winners of the opening weekend at the Dish. Like, there were just so many names that were ahead of him. But I'm curious if what you saw this spring was some sort of adjustment for him, something that you think is going to be sustainable for him. Because, again, it's a big year for him contractually. And even from a bit of a narrative standpoint, given the way that he performed in the World Series. So what is your take on the way he has entered the season, and whether there is reason for more optimism, or that spring to you was maybe just a little bit more of a byproduct of it being, the spring?
I think it was a byproduct of the things he was working on, but I'd never put too much stock in spring training. You have to really guard yourself against that. I mean, he's so good last year, right? Limited games and still hit a bunch of bombs. But I think what he is trying to do, we can all see, we've talked about it on the broadcast. He's just a guy that naturally works underneath the baseball. And we see, but his swing path, the way his body moves, it's unique. It's a little funky the way he comes around it. It's kind of got like a real come around hook to it. But he is just an absolute, if you make a mistake and it hits his barrel, because of the bat speed that he can generate, it can go a long way. So to answer your question, I think he's going to be a lower batting average guy and lower on base guy that's going to hit bombs, because he's going to run into some of those pitches that run into his barrel. Now, when he's going opposite field and all, I think it's a result, of the ball just getting deeper and making contact a little deeper. And again, because of that tremendous bat speed that he has, it goes a long way. But it's a lot of, what he's working on is, early on, it was the ball up, the ball in. For the last couple of years, we talked about it so much and trying to flatten that path out up there. Those are tough pitches to get to. And I think he's done a good job of that, because what he is really doing, he's really overemphasizing, almost hitting ground balls and working down to the ball. I had to do the same thing as a hitter because I worked underneath the ball too. So you almost feel like you're trying to chop the ball on the ground. Your swing does not do that. It's a thought process that hitters have to do. You have to overcompensate for what you're actually doing, the old field versus real thing. So I think he's worked on a lot of things. I think it could be improved. It could be better, but you're not changing the nuts and bolts, I don't think, of his swing. I think he's still going to be what he is. And I expect him to be, once again, that 220, 230 hitter with maybe a 300 on base, but slug, because pitchers make mistakes and a lot of them will find his barrel. At times, you've seen him got jammed a few times this year or this weekend already, but that can happen too. He told me a very interesting thing one spring game. He got jammed in the first at bat of a game, and he said it was great. That's what I wanted, because he was really trying to let the ball get a little deeper. He caught himself getting out front too much. So hitters making adjustments constantly. I think the adjustments he's making are great. He's trying to be the best version of himself. And I don't say he is what he is, but I think with his swing playing, you don't magically change that swing path and make it like a sweet Ken Griffey swing. Like, it's not going to happen. He is who he is, and it's a very, very valuable player, not just with the great defense he plays in center field, but it's the damage that he can do at the plate. And I think he'll be just that, and that's wonderful, a damage hitter.
Okamoto probably couldn't have started any better in terms of feeling like he just completely fits in with this team and that he was a huge piece of what they needed. Again, this is a guy who has the track record back in Japan. He's not a 22-year-old that's trying to make his way over here. So when you saw what he was able to accomplish this weekend, how much of that to you looks sustainable?
It looks sustainable to me because his swing and his approach is controlled. And when you have a controlled approach, like, it's the first thing I look for in hitters is how that body is moving. And he's not that guy that really gets out front. His stride goes out and he almost like pulls his stride foot back. And when I say pulls it back, the stride foot almost pulls back so that he can work behind the baseball. And that's how he drove that ball to right center field. He comes with what we heard is a good approach. He sees the ball well. When guys stay behind the ball well, you're staying quieter with your head and you're going to see the ball better. So that's a good thing. So way early to tell, we'll see. But the early returns and what I saw in spring is I like the approach. I like the way he has that controlled move, because that's what can allow you to get to velocity. We know that was the big challenge he might face here, more velocity in Major League Baseball. He ran into good fastball yesterday, and we'll see how that continues to go. He was out front and fooled on a breaking pitch off the plate away that he flicked over in the outfield. That's a good sign too, because again, if you're out front too far and you're rolling that thing over to the third baseman, that's one thing. But if you're out front too far and you're flicking it in the air over a shortstop's head, that's a little bit lucky, absolutely. But I also think it's a result of a pretty good approach. So real good thing so far this weekend. I expect him to be a pretty solid hitter. I can't predict what he's, is he going to hit 25 or 30? Is he going to be a 330 on base guy? I think that stuff's certainly all in the cards.
Yeah. Again, the power numbers seem to be more of the line of demarcation that people have in terms of what to expect. Like, no one's put him down for over 30. No one seems to be like, hey, he's not going to hit for power in the major leagues. But the stuff that I just like is this is a team that is very attack forward, right? Like, there's most of the guys in this lineup, you're not surprised if they try to do damage on a first pitch. And Okamoto is a bat-to-ball guy. He's an on-base guy. But I just love that he felt so patient at the dish and that it felt like a bit of a change of pace with some of the other guys in the lineup. And I'm hopeful. I'm extremely hopeful that he's going to be a centerpiece of this team. I love how quickly he moved up. I think that he needs to stop raking so much so that he avoids the ice bath, because I think that he is very against that, and you don't want to lose him early on in the season. But early return for me is like, damn, this is pretty much what was advertised with this player. Like, feeling as though you're confident in those ABs that he's going to make the right decisions outside of, again, a couple of pitches and maybe one should have been ABS challenge.
Yeah, no, he gives you a good approach at the plate, and he fits in as the perfect cog in this wheel, right? I mean, we had Nathan Lucas hitting second one day, Sanchez yesterday, different looks, different feels. And whether he hits fourth or whether he hits a little bit lower, that's fine too. The Varsho thing we just talked about, I like to keep Dalton down a little bit just because he's such a damage type hitter. Try to hit maybe with more guys on base. He's an extra base machine, right? So if he comes up with guys on base, a good chance he might hit a double or hit one out of the park. So a lot of different variations that, the way John can handle things, and that's a pretty nice thing to have. I think we'll see a lot of it. What did we see? 146 was it different lineups last year? I see it being similar because this is, this whole platoon thing that we used to talk about when analytics came to be was one thing, but now it's more about matchups and who fits against who. And, and this weekend, opening weekend, it's about getting people in games. Straw got to start, Schneider's probably going to start against lefties. They've got a lot of things going on there that makes it kind of fun. And, you said fans love to try to be the manager. Well, I'm sure fans are waiting for the lineup to come out every day like we are to say, okay, how are they going to attack this guy?
Yes, 100%. No, it's a super entertaining team from just such a variety of standpoints. So this one is a little bit more nebulous for me, which is, and I touched on this a little bit with Ennis, and I can't tell how much of it is just confidence, how much of it is I'm still locked into what he did during the postseason. But my feeling when Ernie Clement comes up right now is obviously completely different than when he started last season. It's like, okay, everything he was doing was a bonus. And then it came to a point where, okay, if he's facing lefties, you certainly feel like he can do some damage. All right, if guys, he's going to be hunting out a fastball. And I don't know if there's actually been a like tactical or physical evolution to this player, or if this is purely confidence. But what have you seen from him year over year in terms of that evolution? Is this just a guy who's so confident that he stays true to who he is and it just continues to work? Or is this somebody that you see is growing at the plate?
Well, I think he's a guy that, what was it last year? Was about a 710, 720 OPS guys in that neighborhood. I mean, just a little better than average major league hitter, whatever. I think he is who he is. And he had a really hot month of October and set a record for hits, which was crazy. I take that month, and I'm sure, I asked Ernie about that just before opening day even. And I said, how do you explain that? He's like, he just kind of went, wow, it just got crazy things happen. Like, who would have thought, right? Like, just got on a roll, and you start seeing pitches really well and balls land. Like, he was just on a roll, but he can do that because he's so athletic. His hand-eye is crazy. I remember talking to Ernie last year, and he talked about, even going back before he kind of let's say made it big here in Toronto, was he had a steeper type swing. So he was trying to work a little bit more tilt into a swing. Didn't want to go too much, but then he kind of found that happy medium. And he's in a pretty good spot. But I think he will never, ever waver. Well, I shouldn't say never, ever. Rarely waver off hunting fastballs. Mm-hmm. He is a classic example of hunting the fastball and adjusting accordingly. Can he hit a breaking ball? Yes. But he's the kind of guy, rarely will he sit on a breaking ball unless somebody really he thinks is going to start or maybe a first pitch, because he got into a little bit of trouble. And I think it was last year when he was scuffling a little bit, he started getting, because he's hammering fastballs, he started getting a lot more breaking balls. But then he started looking for breaking balls a little bit. And then when I asked him, when he started coming out of it again, he says, I'm back on the fastball. I can't do that. I can't just adjust because they start throwing me more, start looking for them. It was like he was telling me that's not who he is. So because he is just so athletic, and it's the oldest thing in the book for hitters, look fastball and adjust. But I think he's truly one that has to do that. You're hitting lower in the order. You should get, the game's changed a little bit, not as many fastballs, obviously, but he should get enough. And the game-winning hit the other day was exactly that. So, yeah, I mean, is it evolving? Is he better than we've ever seen him? No, I think he's just come into his own, really knows who he is. Mm-hmm. And how many times have we heard John Schneider, David Popkins, these guys say, we want them to be good at what they're good at. Don't try to be somebody you're not. And for Ernie, it's just like keeping it simple, use your athleticism. Another really, really cool thing he told me, I think this is pretty important because it has to do with David Popkins. It has to do, and his staff. I always want to say David Popkins and his staff. This is a group that works together. And Ernie said to me, I'm in a place now where you can just be yourself. And he gave me an example of, it used to be, whereas I'd go up to bat and I'd swing at a first pitch, maybe just up in the zone, whatever, pop it up, come back to the dugout. And of course, his swing would be analyzed, what a mistake that was, and what are you doing swinging at that first pitch? He does it now, and it's like, okay, oh well, so what? Mm-hmm. It's no big deal. And that's what he means about being himself. That's who he is. He's a bit of a free swinger like that, and that's what makes him as good as he is. If he changes his approach, if he changed things, can he be a lot better? I don't know, but I think he's in a happy place here based on what his hitting coaches are doing with him, based on what he is doing. He's in a really good place. He plays phenomenal defense, and he provides what he provides. I don't think, he's never going to be a 20 plus home run guy. He's not going to be an 800 OPS guy necessarily. Shouldn't say that because you never know. But he's really has identified who he is, and that's a credit, I think, to the hitting program, the hitting coaches, and to him himself. He's in a really good place in his career.
Yeah, I think it's just another reason to believe in why confidence matters for a guy too. Is just that's how he looks when he's out there right now.
Need results, right? Need results.
Of course
to get
you
that
do.
Confidence. I've always felt, when I was confident, it's because I had done well. It's the age-old question, right? I mean, hard to be confident when I won from my last 22, and I did that a lot.
Yeah, I think that he can ride it out a little bit better to have an even better year than he had last season at the plate, just because there is that added element of confidence in who he is, confidence in his approach. And maybe even when that success isn't there to this degree, that you can kind of get back to or remain who you are and trust that process is going to get you back there.
And you're probably going to need to keep finding holes, right? Like, he's not going to walk a ton. He's not going to be a guy that helps his on-base percentage by walking. It's pretty much going to be what he does with the bat.
So last one, you've been super generous with the time. From a process standpoint, what do you need to see from Addison Barger to maintain that spot hitting cleanup?
Just keep doing what he's doing. Addison Barger, man, I'm in love with that guy. I love his swing. I love his approach. Just, oh, man, I've been a big fan of his. I know last year it was easy to be a big fan of Addison Barger's, but I like what he does in the box. This is not just this big, strong muscle dude that's trying to hit bombs. It looks like it, and he might, I should say,
it definitely looks like it.
But it's controlled. Like, it's controlled. You see him take some pitches. I mentioned it down on the broadcast yesterday. He can lay off a changeup. I'm like, wow, how did he lay off that pitch? Now, he's a guy that's going to get jammed sometimes, and we'll see that because I think what he does is he handles the ball actually a little bit more away from him better. He kind of, I don't want to say he comes around the ball, but his swing kind of comes around that way and catches. He's better with the ball, say, middle-ish away than necessarily the good hard heat in, and that's why you'll see teams try to crowd him. They'll try to cut the ball in on him. Those are things he'll do. The big thing for me this year is, and it's maybe a bit early to ask him to graduate to the next step, but that's hitting lefties. And I've asked him about his approach against lefties. He'll say at times he might, if it's a sinking type lefty, he mentioned Christopher Sanchez's name from the Phillies. If it's a guy that's going to sink it, he might even back off the plate just a hair, just to give him a little bit more room inside there. If not, he'll be a little bit more traditional and look out over. But it's something I really want to see him play every day and play against lefties consistently, because every day he doesn't play against the lefty, maybe you're missing a home run that day, or maybe, but the way these Blue Jays do the lineups now, John Schneider, you start Lucas in right field in that series against the lefty instead of Barger, but he's going to be in halfway through the game because the A's only have one left-hander in the bullpen. So he's going to get still 2-3 ABs like he did, but I just like to see him get it right from the first inning. That's just me. But I see what they're doing. Yeah. I get it.
Listen, I think he's going to have to play pretty much every day because of the amount of lefties that this team has. So he'll have a longer runway this season. That's it, right?
Two of them got to play all the time, right?
Yeah. So
Sanchez not starting against many lefties. So it's going to be Varsho and Barger for the most part.
Yeah, neither is Lucas. And so he gets a long runway, a long opportunity to be able to figure this thing out. And again, speaking to the confidence thing, you got to feel a little bit better knowing that you've got a little bit of room for failure, that it's not live or die with every single at-bat that you take, that his spot on the lineup at least feels pretty concrete as of today. Joe?
But it's JD, funny, just one more thing. Funny you say that about the lineup. I literally asked him a question yesterday, like, batting second, batting fourth, do you care? He's like, and I knew what his answer would be. He doesn't care. He's going up with the same approach every time.
He's way too young to be staking himself in a position where he's like, no, I must be hitting cleanup like that.
No, but he's just chill. It's the way he hits. You can put him on the moon and he's going to hit the same way.
Yeah. I hope he hits extremely well this year. A lot of high hopes for him. Joe, thanks as always for the time, brother. Thank you for doing this. And of course, congratulations on the full-time gig. We're thrilled that it's you. I know you're going to do a great job this season. Thanks, man.
Thanks, JD. Have a great day, man.
Take care, man. Joe Siddall, Blue Jays TV analyst. It was Arden, by the way, who had the ABS framing take. The producers let me know that. Little acts of kindness in a time when it seems everything is hopeless is one small way to make things better. And one simple act you can take today to have a direct and immediate impact on your community is donating blood. You can go to your nearest Canadian Blood Services donation center. This small act can save multiple lives. The need is always there, and it can bring a sense of contribution to a world in need of solutions. Choose a moment today of hope. Make a donation and an appointment by visiting blood.ca, the Give Blood app, or call 1-888-2-DONATE. Quick break, what we missed.
We are your home for Toronto Blue Jays baseball. Hear all the action across the Sportsnet radio network, streaming on the Sportsnet app, and at sportsnet.ca/590.
Need welding equipment? Come to Joseph Gas. We're authorized for Lincoln, Miller, ESAB, Hobart, Fronius, and Canaweld. We stock the guns, torches, regulators, helmets, gloves, and abrasives. Everything to put that machine to work. And learn how to use it in our demo lab with a Red Seal welder before you take it home. Plus, take advantage of in-store deals like Miller's Build with Blue, Lincoln's Money Matters, and ESAB's Burn and Earn at Joseph Gas. Get the right machine at the best price. That's Joseph with an F, as in family.
439 Pizza Nova. 439 Pizza Nova.
Ciao, I'm Dominic Primucci. Baseball is back. Step up to the plate and watch the game with the official pizza of the Toronto Blue Jays. Order online or with the app and enjoy one of our mouth-watering signature pizzas and taste the difference.
439 Pizza Nova. 439 Pizza Nova.
Don't miss Rona Week's amazing deals where price tags aren't the only things changing.
What was your wish list is now your shopping list. What was a dream bathroom is now your bathroom. So head to Rona from March 26th to April 8th. Build it right. Build it Rona.
Lone Star's new 3 Amigo meals. For $14.99, you get chips and salsa. Our new double-stacked Big Smash Burger with fries and unlimited pop. And why not enjoy a 16-ounce Texas Gold Lager for only $4.99?
Hold up. Did you say chips, salsa, the Big Smash Burger and fries, and unlimited pop for $14.99? Plus a Texas Gold Lager for $4.99? Oh, someone's getting fired for this.
New 3 Amigo meals for $14.99. Monday to Friday, 11 to 3, only at Lone Star.
Spring is just around the corner, and that means Chevrolet's Truck Month is back. For a limited time, get $6,000 in total cash purchase discounts on the 2026 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 Custom Trail Boss, Canada's most affordable 2-inch factory-lifted V8 truck. With Silverado's off-road capability combined with its powerful 5.3-liter V8 engine, you'll be ready to take on whatever lies ahead. Hurry in, Truck Month won't last long. Visit your local Chevrolet dealer for details.
I'm the puck that just won't bounce your way.
I'm the gust of wind that makes the field goal miss.
I'm the final shot that bounces out. Yeah, that's me. I'm random. And before you bet more than you can afford to lose, remember, I'm always in play. Learn more at gamblingisrandom.ca.
It's not a baby shower without games. It's not a toast without glasses. It's not Easter without baskets. And with thousands of products under $5, it's not a party till you stopped at Party City. Party City, Canada. Now it's a party.
Did you know the plasma in your blood is used to create medications that boost the immune system of people fighting cancer? Advancements in clinical care have led to new life-saving uses for plasma, and with that, a new need for donors. Canada needs more blood and plasma donors than ever before, because we're saving more lives than ever before.
Help Canada reach 1 million new donors by 2030. Book an appointment today at blood.ca/plasma and experience what you get when you give. Canadian Blood Services. Who's saving who?
You know what actually causes arguments? Snoring, back pain, one person wanting to sit up, the other wanting to lie flat. You know what doesn't? The fabric color on the base of your adjustable bed. At Leva Sleep, we make comfortable adjustable beds. Better for your back and better for your relationship. Hurry, our different color clear-out ends today. Save up to 60% on adjustable bed packages, plus save the tax. Same better bed, just last year's colors, gone today. Leva Sleep, the better bed.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds, and if you're like me, you never stop wondering what the future holds. The one thing I do know is that you'll be able to enjoy my maple butter glazed donut at Tim Hortons because it's so fluffy and delicious that it'll never come off the menu. Never, ever, ever. Try it today at Tim's.
University Health Network right here in Toronto has been ranked the #2 hospital in the world. Hi, I'm Julie Canville, CEO at UHN Foundation. Everything we do here is made possible by your support. The innovations, the breakthroughs, the world-leading healthcare that transforms lives in the GTA and across the world. At UHN, we're uniting the best teams and talent to create the best care for the people who need us. Get involved today at uhnfoundation.ca.
Protect your waste and recycling equipment from costly repairs. With a custom maintenance plan, optimize your waste system performance and longevity with Metro Compactor Service. They've got you covered coast to coast with the largest service fleet in Canada. Their innovative iSmart technology can remotely diagnose, troubleshoot, and monitor equipment health in real time. For on-demand or proactive service, sales, rentals, and extended warranties for all your waste equipment, visit metrocompactor.com. metrocompactor.com.
Spring is just around the corner, and that means Chevrolet's Truck Month is back. For a limited time, get $6,000 in total cash purchase discounts on the 2026 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 Custom Trail Boss, Canada's most affordable 2-inch factory-lifted V8 truck. With Silverado's off-road capability combined with its powerful 5.3-liter V8 engine, you'll be ready to take on whatever lies ahead. Hurry in, Truck Month won't last long. Visit your local Chevrolet dealer for details.
You know that moment when you want to quit smoking, but it feels harder than expected? Zonic can help. A nicotine pouch that curbs nicotine cravings fast, supporting your quit journey one step at a time. Proud to be the official smoking cessation partner of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because progress towards quitting is worth cheering for. Ask your pharmacist about Zonic today. This product may not be right for you. Always read and follow the label. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is highly addictive, only to be used by adults who are trying to quit smoking.
At Loblaws, get PC or Butterball frozen turkeys for $1.98 a pound until April 1st. Get it delivered with your first year of PC Express Pass. Just $2.50 a month. Conditions apply. See loblaws.ca for details. Loblaws.
The Blue Jays are back, Canada. Stream over 150 live games and save over 30% with Sportsnet Plus annual plans. Subscribe today at sportsnetplus.ca. Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
I was just flying through the DMs during the break. At JD Bunkis, if you ever want to reach out. Twitter and Instagram. It's remarkable to see the difference going from all the Leafs messages that I've gotten all season long to one weekend of the Toronto Blue Jays in terms of the level of optimism, happiness, and kindness versus what it has been with the Leafs. Anyways, Armin is here. All right, what do we miss?
Leafs do play tonight.
Yeah.
Late night game against the Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it matters anymore how they react with Gudas back on the ice? Obviously, what happened with Matthews a few weeks ago.
No, here's the thing, man. You had your chance. So you guys going out there and chasing Gudas around and making a scene, I'm sure for them it matters, like as players, to try and vindicate themselves for what ended up happening in that game. But I said this when it happened, and I'm not changing my opinion on it now. Everything that followed it is performative to me. You show who you are in that moment. And again, with Easton Cowan, he saw that play. He didn't really do anything. And then during that same game, he gets in a fight. And then the next time it happens to John Tavares, he jumps in the mix. He's a young player. He hasn't been here year over year. For a guy like that, he made a mistake, and he learned from it, and he's adapting, and he's spoken as such. So to me, it's like he can get it. He can get basically the pass. With the other guys, they've done this year over year over year. This is not something new. It wasn't something shocking. It wasn't something surprising. It was expected, and it was revealing to me that everything that they've done over these seasons to try and add the grit around the fringes to change the personality of the core players in the group really didn't have that intended effect of rubbing off on them. It just didn't. In fact, I think it mostly happened the other way around, which is that the stars rubbed off on the role players more than the role players rubbed off on the stars. So great. You go chase Gudas around tonight. Somebody fights him. Morgan Riley, Brandon Carlo. I don't care.
Joshua, maybe.
It doesn't matter, man. It's over. It's over. All you have to do from here on out, I've said it all, a million different shows. It's gotten repetitive. It's gotten boring. It's gotten to a point where, yeah, you can even hear me speaking about it, where I'm exhausted by it. But just try to lose as many games as you can. End up with some lottery balls and hope for the best. And if you don't have it, great. Move on to the offseason, which is the offseason is going to be very interesting. There's going to be a lot of discussion about it. But these games now, it's like, yeah, you remember the Raptors last year? This is the exact same thing, where all you're doing is watching for coverage purposes, or you're just so used to watching the Maple Leafs that it's part of your routine as a person. I call them the sickos, the people who are still watching at this point. Anyway,
I got to say that NHL Tank Wars are probably the best, like definitely better than the NBA's Tank Wars.
Oh, in terms of the competitive product, for sure.
Because the product and also like the race itself, because it's like the Leafs are still winning games. A lot of tanking teams are still winning games.
No, and they don't.
NBA, it's literally like,
it's
we'll
unwatchable.
do anything to lose.
It's unwatchable.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
The Final Four set in the men's bracket for March Madness.
What a game.
Wicked game yesterday. One of the best game winners, honestly, you'll ever see.
Yeah.
So it's UConn, Illinois on one side and Arizona, Michigan on the other. Are you tilting any way in terms of who you think will come out on top?
So let me just start with this. That UConn Duke game was, I would say, one of the best games I've seen, one of the best comebacks I've seen in years, except for, if you recall, if you're a fan of March Madness, Duke did this last year. Duke did this last year where we thought the game was over, that Cooper Flagg was about to be anointed heading to a finals. And they blew a massive lead. And this is back-to-back seasons with monster chokes for Duke. I have receipts.
We love to see it, by the way.
I do, but I will say that I have a take on this.
Okay.
I can't believe it happened again. I was definitely cheering for UConn in that game. One of my very best friends, Matt Hayes, he's a huge UConn fan. I've been pulling for him. He's a supportive guy. So I'm just like, I'm on it. I'm with him. I'm riding with my buddy. On this particular team, we're riding UConn. I've bet them a few times. They've come through. Really fun run for them. Different heroes in a bunch of these different games. I got to say, one, that was an exhilarating where were you moment with the tournament. Like, the tournament's still alive. You got two blue bloods against each other. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was the moment.
John Shire coaching his team not to just hold on to the basketball and wait for a foul is like, there's been two horrific coaching decisions in this tournament, both done by one seeds. Florida deciding to press in the final seconds against Iowa for inexplicable reasons when the only thing they couldn't give up was a three, allowing them to break out and get a wide open look from three. And then this, where Caden Boozer decides that he's going to try to advance the ball when he did not need to. He's one of the best free throw shooters on the team, throws a turnover, and then Mullins, who hits that logo three, a kid who some people were wondering whether or not he's going to enter the draft because there's some belief that he could benefit a lot from another college season. Yeah, I think that you hit a shot like that and you're feeling like your stock is up, your stock is rising, and you're just a shooter. He's a pure shooter. He's probably going to go in the draft. I felt horrible for Caden Boozer. That's the first time where I felt sick to my stomach for a Duke player before. Like, truly. I felt sick for Zion when he would get hurt because I was really rooting for Zion. I rooted for the Zion RJ team. Like, I really like those guys. I was a big RJ Barrett fan. I wanted to see that Duke team win. I don't have the same level of Duke hate as I think the general public does. And I don't think we have it as much in Canada. Let's just be real here. Like, we don't have the same Duke hate because we don't have the same investment in the tournament as the United States. But
I actually kind of hate like UConn just as much.
Yeah, UConn.
Because they've been dominant. Dan Hurley gets on my nerves.
Totally. And now they've made 3 of the last 4 Final Four appearances. Like, they're the number one blue blood. If you want to say who's the dominant team to root against, UConn is definitely entering that. I'm saying I was cheering for my friend.
Yeah.
But I don't like Hurley either. I find him to be way too much.
Yeah.
So watching the way Caden Boozer handled the media afterwards, taking the responsibility on his shoulders, clearly had just been crying his eyes out, eyes beat red, answering every question to the media as a teenager in a national media spot where he is going to be the face of them losing that game. And again, it wasn't all on him because they had a 19-point lead. I think it was 15 at the half.
Yeah. First seed to blow a 15-point lead at the half, by the way. Ever.
But I will say, I texted my buddy Matt. I texted another friend that was watching the game. I felt as though if UConn could close the game to 6, that they were going to win it because Duke was such a front runner. They hadn't faced all that adversity all season long. They were a lot of freshmen on that team. They'd only lost 2 games all year. I wondered how they would respond to getting punched in the mouth like that. Also, UConn's offense felt very sustainable throughout the game. Like, they kept getting it into their big, and he was scoring basically at will and creating foul problems for Duke.
Yeah.
It is an awesome moment for UConn. I really felt heartbroken for Caden Boozer. Like, that was one of those they're just kids things, and thinking about him playing with his brother and them having an opportunity to go to a Final Four together, the way that he absorbed it, it was such a lesson for me of all those pros that ducked the media. Like, the stuff that ended up, Cam Newton's the name that comes to mind first because he ducked it during the Super Bowl. But, man, when we're critical of the Matthewses who do this and other players that refuse to talk to the media after big losses, you see a kid like this step up to the dish, and you got to give him all the respect in the world. Like, truly, that he could have absolutely ducked the media, and they could have protected him. He went in the moment, and I thought, if I was a team and I was drafting and I was thinking about, I would want a leader like that. I would want someone that owns their mistakes like that and feel like they're not going to make the same ones over and over again.
He's definitely in a unique spot, too, with the dynamic of being the brother that's not as good.
Yeah, exactly.
Your brother is going to be a lottery pick. Like,
and your brother was the best player for Duke in that game and feeling like you cost it for him. Like, yeah, man. No. Anyways, I thought that it was an incredible game, but it was an even more impressive character moment from Caden Boozer following the game than I think anything that actually even transpired on the court, which was spectacular.
I want to sneak this in.
Yeah.
Bo got booed at Citi Field by the Mets fans this weekend after having a terrible weekend, going 1 for 18. I think he had 8 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by that?
No, it's the Mets. By the way, lastly, I do want to say I think the winner of the Michigan-Arizona game is going to win the tournament.
Okay.
I don't think that's like a really hot take, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely rooting for Arizona in that game. I'm not rooting for Michigan. I like Arizona's team. They're young, though, and so going up against an older Michigan team, especially with that one kid who's in his 5th year because he played a couple of years at JUCO, I think that Michigan does have the edge based on the way these two teams have played, but I'm hoping Arizona pulls it out. I like their team a little bit more. But yeah, the Bo Bichette thing, it's not surprising at all. He's going to be a butcher at third base. He's brand new with the team. They gave him a huge signing.
Yeah.
They've been bit in the ass with bad signings before. I think that, yeah, they're one of those fan bases that turn on people fast and they're ruthless. Like they did this, they didn't boo Soto last year as far as I know, but they were like out on Soto for the first month of the season. They were like, he still wants to be a Yankee. And I know some of that's like Frank the Tank stuff, but their fan base in general, I think that's just the New York attitude of guys. Bo will be fine. He's going to have 200 hits if he stays healthy, but the third base stuff is very, very real. So no, I'm not surprised whatsoever, but yeah, polar opposite weekends in terms of Okamoto's debut and Bo's debut. Anyways, we'll see you tomorrow.
At Desjardins, we speak business. We speak equipment modernization. We're fluent in data digitization and expansion into foreign markets. And we can talk all day about streamlining manufacturing processes. Because at Desjardins Business, we speak the